Greetings, welcome.
Actually kinda in the mood for cards.
I'm always...
Alright, you should be able to hear me in the stream now. Perfect. There's just going to be a little bit of a delay. So, I'm playing Northern Realms deck. That's the one I usually play. And I'll just kind of start a quick game here against this guy. Now, part of the game is kind of knowing what the different decks do. I play Northern Realms, so really what you're gonna find is that the Northern Realms, it's best to kind of concentrate on doing two things. One is every time you win a round, because you get a free card, it's a good deck for, and it's got a lot of spy cards, so it's a good deck for maintaining your card count. But also, you notice how I have all of these siege units, right? All of they go into the third row. That's because the Northern Realms, they have a leader ability where you can double that entire row strength. Pretty cool. So this one you'll kind of build those. Your frontline guy, your close combat, and your ranged, you basically don't care about those because they're not really used for much. These I usually keep around because I use spy cards a lot, and I'm going up against a monster deck. Monster decks usually use a lot of spawns. Yeah, see, I didn't get any of the cards I wanted. But I'll show you why I don't get rid of this thing here. So basically, this first round against the monsters, what you're trying to do is bleed their card count down. So I'm going to use, the first thing you want to do in the first round is just get rid of cards you're not going to do anything with. Alright, so now you notice he's just played 3 more cards than me, essentially out of his hand. I've got 9. So it doesn't really matter if I win this round right now. It really doesn't. To 1, If you'll notice though, Trish, she stayed a number 7 because she is one of the gold, or kind of golden black cards. Those ones aren't affected by anything. They can't be resurrected, they can't be destroyed, they're pretty much a guaranteed point value. So if you look, I mean, I'm definitely going to lose this round. He's got 22, I've got 8, but I've got way more cards than him, and I just made him use his leader ability. So I don't really care that I lost this round. There you go, just throw the first round. The whole point of that was to make him lose cards. And give me just a second here. Sorry about that, I have really crappy internet here. So he just passed with that. There you go. I just won the second round because he wasn't gonna throw his cards. So this is the only one that's an actual game now. This is a competition. So this last one, it's my turn. I'm gonna play something he can't tear up. And now we're just card shedding until whoever has the most points wins. So now here's something that I'm doing that you kind of want to watch out for. There's a card called Scorch, and if it gets played, it'll ruin your day. If you have a high value card on the board, because it will take the highest card off. So a good strategy when you're playing either the Elven decks or the monster decks is don't play a high card if it's like one of these. Now actually, I'm going to show you something here. Being he just used Torrential Rain, my siege row is going to be defaulted to 1, so he kind of can't really do anything to me. So I just play the second one. Now I'm just running the score up, clear the weather cards. That little clear weather card just removes all the effects. There's the leader card I explained earlier, and I just wrecked that round. And there you go. There's a match. It's just really easy. Now, that's pretty much the only deck I play. So let me show you a bit about the decks. The two that are hardest to play against each other are Nilfgaardian and Northern. There's actually a 5th deck that's in the DLC for Skellige, and I absolutely hate it. But this one here, they share a lot of the same cards. Like, you know, those cards are the same, and there's another one over here. There's another. This one has a lot more black and gold cards, and it's got a few spy cards. The Northern Realms deck actually has next to this one. They kind of tie for most spy cards. I didn't get any spy cards in that match, but basically, if I play, let's say I play this card, it gets played to the opponent's hand, so it gives them 4 points, but it gives me 2 cards. So if you've got like 2 spy cards in the very first round, you can just sit there and build your deck up, and while they're shedding cards, and eventually you end up, you know, you're the second round in, you might have 12, I think one time I had 14 cards, and they're like halfway down their deck, and you can just, at that point, you're just playing big blind bully. You'll win the next 2 rounds with no problem. That strategy works with this deck or the Northern Realms deck. And if I go through here, this one I actually have a deck created. You know, I've got 2 spy cards. Actually, I got 3. There's a 4th spy card that you can get. But essentially, sometimes what you'll run into, that's why this is why I have the decoys. What you'll run into is you and the opposing player will get into basically like a little spy war back and forth. They'll play a spy card, and you'll play a spy card, and so on. And what you basically want to do, if you've got decoy cards, you use the decoy cards to pick up the spy card that they played against you and replay it. You'll run into that if you're playing against someone using Northern Realms or Nilfgaardian. If they're using monsters or Squirtle, they really don't have any spy cards. The Squirtle have like one spy card they can use. Monsters does not have a spy card. However, what you'll find with this deck is some different abilities. Now, these have a lot of resurrection cards, so you can kind of pull cards from the graveyard real easy. If you see this symbol, what looks like kind of like two little dudes, two little helmets there, what that usually means, and I'll hit R2 to zoom, if you kind of look underneath the card here, it gives you a description of any special effect. So this one's muster. So if I play an Elven Skirmisher, it pulls any other Elven Skirmishers in my deck and plays them instantly. Now here's the problem, is it also pulls them from your hand. So that's like, you know, the monster deck, that's why he ran out of cards so quickly. When he played that first vampire card, it pulled all the other vampire cards out of his hand, making him shed cards faster. That's why I don't like these decks. And there's a couple different things. Now that's kind of a good thing though, because let's say I had one Dwarven Skirmisher, one Elven Skirmisher. Is there another card here that has that same effect? Sure, yeah, another Smuggler. And is there anything else? Okay, let's just say I had one of each of those. Each one of those I play is going to pull every other card like it onto the field, which means, you know, like, let's say I just had one of each. There's 15 right there, and then 3, there's 9 and 2, or 4 I mean. So 15 plus 13, so you'd be pulling 28 points and only playing 3 cards. It's not bad. That being said, that's really not gonna help you in the long run, because usually you can't really swing that. You end up with more cards spent than you actually will win. Any specific questions so far? Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me? Alright, so if you can hear me, now I'm going to go ahead and go into some of the other tips. So a couple other ones you want to know are, first off, if you're going for something that uses spy cards, you actually want to keep the number of unit cards as small as possible. So you'll only want you know, high-powered cards, and that's it. every deck has leader cards that you basically are going to have to unlock by defeating certain players in the game. Some of them are pretty crappy. Like this one, I just get to see 3 cards in their hand. Not super useful. This one, if you're playing against Nilfgaardian and you're using Northern Realms, this one sucks. If they hit you with this one, it just paralyzes you. So I don't have this one yet because I haven't played very much Gwent in this game. But now this one here is a brand new. This one is actually part of the DLC. This one can be pretty useful if you've played a spy card and they didn't have a way to use it. I'll just use that one for now. If you don't really have any better option, general rule of thumb, only pick cards with special abilities and or high values. I know he's going to be doing that, so I'll just pick one of those. So one of you, and I need some more unit cards. So, let's just throw a few more of these in there. Okay, so now I've got my minimum card number of 22, and I've got 26 cards total. Out of those 26, right, I've got 3 spy cards, 2 healers. Repeat that one more time for me. It didn't take that long. It's a pretty straightforward game once you get used to it. The hard part is kind of coming up with the initial strategy. Once you know that essentially it's more about running them out of cards as opposed to actually winning cards yourself, or as opposed to just winning the first round or so, you can kind of, you'll be much more effective. So I'm going to change decks here. I'm going to use Nilfgaardian against the same guy I just played. I'll either do really good or I'll absolutely fail this. I don't usually use this deck. So at the very beginning of the game, you have the option to get rid of some of your cards. The only ones, as you look, that don't have any kind of special ability and are the lowest scoring are these 2. So they're gone. They're just done. I'm not going to use them. Alright. Now, like I said, I don't care about the first round, so I'm going to dump this spy card for 2 more cards. And now I've got another spy card. Okay, so now I'm 3 cards ahead of him, and now I'm 4 cards ahead of him. Essentially, I'm just building up a gigantic list of cards. Alright, now because I have 2 cards here that can resurrect things, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that just to knock some points down. Because what I need him to do is to lose as many cards as possible. Let's see. I'm actually going to look at this. Okay, now, I know now he has a Scorch card. So, he can't play it in this round because he has the highest scoring and he just passed. I'm not going to worry about beating him to 90 points. I don't care. I only need to win one, or I only really need to win 2 rounds. So, throw in the first round. Don't really care. I'm not going to beat him on it, and there's no point. But now, he has to fight with 4 cards, and I got 11. And, well, there we go. He already passed. So I'm just going to throw you This is my worst card, but it beats his. So now I pass, and he's out of luck. Okay, now he gets to keep that card because of his just faction ability. Every faction has an ability. The Northern Realms deck, you get a free card every time you win a hand. The Nilfgaardian deck, if you tie, you instantly win. The monster deck, a random card stays on the field, and the Square-Tile deck, or whatever that one is, Square-Tile, I don't remember how you pronounce it. Anyway, that one, you usually get the first play. So what I'm going to do is, before he can do anything else, right, I've got so many of these cards that can't be affected, but I'm just going to play them until he either passes or he can no longer use that Scorch card. And you see, he's saving it back. He's trying to use it, but it's not going to do him any good. Oh, that was dirty. Doesn't really matter, but... And there we go, he passed. So now all that's left is just run up the score. And there you go. I just beat him on both rounds, because he really couldn't do anything because he spent all of his cards in the first round. So if you spend all your cards trying to win that first round, you pretty much guarantee that you're going to lose.
Greetings, welcome.
And I'll set up the next deck I'm going to show you. While, if you want to ask me some questions or something, go ahead, because I know there's a bit of a delay between the stream and... I'm probably going to lose this one. Between the stream and then you responding.
I'm always in the mood for Gwent.
Monster and Square-Tile decks will do that. The monster decks, it usually happens quicker, and you need to kind of choose your moment to... All their cards are close combat. They've got a few that can sort of switch places, like this one right here, this Harpy. You gotta kind of be careful trying to just run them out of cards, because if they get just a good hand with a couple really strong cards and you kind of maybe pass too early, they'll just overdo it with like one, and in the very next round they'll kind of swarm you again. What you kind of need to know is what cards can they spawn. So like, for example, this monster deck I have is really incomplete. I'll throw kind of him in there. Let me throw a couple more things. There we go. So I've pretty much got all my good cards in here. Normally, I would have as big a deck as possible, but in this case, it's not a good idea because I don't have that many good cards. Now, this one here is really nice. Change the leader card, and I'll start the game. The leader card, you always want to read your leader card effect. So now we'll play monsters versus monsters, and I will probably lose this round. Let's see, I'll redraw that. Okay, So I'll redraw you. So strangely enough, I've got one of every one of these multi-card ones. So I'm going to kind of keep with my normal strategy. This is actually my worst card. Okay, there's my second worst card. Alright, now he just played that. And that pulled a bunch of stuff from his deck. I don't think I have that many of these. So if I played this card... Yeah, I only pulled one. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get him to play the card that's going to pull a bunch from his hand. Didn't happen. So now I got a problem. And that problem is... He has about the same amount of cards as me. Let's see, his leader ability is going to double all the strength. So let's say I was just barely matching force with him here. He can use his leader ability, double this entire row, and I'm pretty much hosed. So I can just kind of play that to sort of bring it down a little bit. And there we go, he passed. So I got a choice. I can either try to fit one of these cards in, or I can do what I kind of didn't want to do, which is use a close, that one. This is one where I want to win the first round, because, there we go, it's my turn. Alright. This one here, I'm probably going to lose, so I'm just, well, I don't want to pass yet. Shoot, that kind of sucked, actually. I hate this deck. But, yeah, there you go. He plays that. Boom. Okay, now we have the same amount of cards. I'll pass this round. Okay, so he just picked one up. It's not going to do him any good. That's okay. Alright, so there we go. His leader ability is not going to matter. So I'll just play these. Now this is where I've kind of got a bit of an advantage over him, is that I have a few more of these cards. Now he might have a Scorch card, so I want him to play his last. And he passed, and I just won. Surprisingly. I've never won with a monster deck, but that worked. So with a monster deck, essentially, you want to keep as many cards in your deck that you can pull while keeping those out of your hand. Because if you, like, let's say I had all the vampire cards in my hand, it would have been like playing 3 cards instead of like playing 1 card and getting 3. You see what I mean? Like you gotta kind of use the muster ability in order to pull cards from your deck instead of having to spend them from your hand. So you end up as like each card's a force multiplier if you do that. If you don't do that, if you just leave them in your hand, the deck is pretty much just going to play against you at that point. Now, I'm actually going to keep this one because of what that lets me do. What I need to do here. So, with this deck, I use a very similar strategy. I only need one of those because I can call it on point. Let's see. Use you. Use that. Now, these these ones here, you can put in either close combat or ranged, so they are pretty useful, although I don't usually use them. Okay, so we just hit 22 cards. There's really no point in using any of these other cards. Actually, we'll let the opponent start, actually. So, as you notice, I didn't have this option with the other ones. Let's see. Goodbye, Elven Skirmisher. And okay, so if you look, my strategy is kind of the same as the last one. I've got an Elven Skirmisher, a Dwarven Skirmisher, and a Smuggler. Each one of these cards is going to pull more cards from my deck, which is going to give me basically free cards. But if I had, like, you know, I had two of these guys in the beginning, that's all I have in my entire deck, so it would have just simply cost me more cards. This guy I kind of want to keep around because with this one I can place it wherever. There's really not a lot else here that's really good. Most of these kind of suck. This isn't my favorite deck. So I'm just going to start this one. And we'll see what happens. Oh, don't worry about it. Alright, so this is essentially the worst card I've got. Yeah, so there. Nilfgaard and Northern Realms are the hardest ones to beat, and I'll show you why in a bit when I play Northern Realms again. If I can get the cards I want, which I don't have all the cards that I usually have once I've completed it. Let's see. I've got a card advantage, but he'll just wreck me in the next round, so I don't want to lose this one quite yet. I want to keep this, so whatever. Okay. So I just made him waste his leader ability, and I'll pass. So I'll let this round go as a loss. Okay, whoop-de-doo, don't really care. Now, with this one, I know I can pull a Biting Frost card, which is the one that kills the close combat row, so I'm not really worried. I'm putting those there kind of to make him shed some more cards, but if you notice, all the ones I have the option are going to go here. Now I just gotta hope he doesn't have an Impenetrable Frost card. That actually hurt me more than it hurt him. That was a stupid idea. Let's see. 9, 12. Yeah, this won't work. Oh well, I still end with one more card than the other player. And I want to save that card for last, so... This is just going to be kind of a race to the end. And I might win this one, I might lose this one. Yeah, if you have Nilfgaard or Northern Realms, Monster Deck is really easy to beat, as long as you kind of plan for it. If you don't have, if you're using Squirtle, which I still won, but if you're using Squirtle, it's just not as much fun. And let me see if I can get one of these.
Greetings, welcome.
I mean, Northern Realms works pretty good against pretty much everybody.
Actually, kind of in the mood for...
I'm all...
then you're in a little bit of trouble. So you're in a little bit of trouble at that point. However, the Northern Realms has an ability where if you win a match, you draw a card. So, if it's kind of easy to win the first match and you win it, or if you win the second match, you're going to draw the next card in your deck, which is likely to give you a spy card sometimes. It's more likely to give you that if you keep your unit card count low. Mine's a little higher than I usually keep it because I've got all of these. I've got like these cards here. If you notice, like when you look through my, these can all be doubled by my leader ability. Everything else though is either like a special card or it's got some kind of special ability or high value. So the Northern Realms deck, and actually this is just by playing through the game, you get a lot of the cards for it really easy. So, there we go. I'm going to go first. Boom, spy card. Let's see how many I got. We got one. You know what? I don't really need that, do I? Oh, well. It's meant to be. Okay. So, round start. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to dump that because I want the other two cards. The decoys are only really good for picking up spy cards. Other than that, they really don't help you that much unless you're trying to make them shed cards. You can kind of play a decoy, play a card, decoy it back, play a card, decoy it back. I usually don't play that method unless I have to. There we go, they passed. So here's a rare point where I'll try to win the first round. Reason why I can win it easy. And it's going to give me a card, because I kind of want another card. Son of a... Oh, well, actually... So, normally I wouldn't want that one, but in this particular case it works. So, now the trick is on this match, or this particular round, I'm not going to use these cards. I'm going to save them for the end. I'll use these before I use these. Yeah, he just used Viltrentenmirth. Now, though, I'm going to mostly use these guys. And I'm going to see... Really, I just want him to... All I really want him to do is play the, a bunch of his close combat cards. And there we go. You know, it looks like he's winning. But... And I knew that was happening. Okay, so I don't need to win this round, so I'm going to skip it. And he's going to have to play two more cards to beat me, and he barely beat me. So now it's 2 cards against 5 cards. So there's really not any way I'm going to lose. Well, shit, and then that happened. Let's see. Well, I'm still not going to lose it. Okay, so once again, he's out of cards. I mean, this is the only thing this is going to do is keep me from running the score up an embarrassing amount. And that's the last round. Let me try to find someone really quick, though, that has a different deck. Pretty much any vendor is going to be someone you can play against. And if I remember right, this guy, Sucrus, plays... Where was he? Is this him? Yeah, Schuster. Oh, there we go.
Greetings.
Smooth seas that...
You a table?
I am.
So...
Yeah, most of them. I've kind of been reading one, and then there's another, and then the last one hasn't been translated to English yet.
What's this fixture for?
It promotes hair growth.
What's in it?
Sweet balm, nettle, and birth. Would you like to bite?
Yeah, the Lady of the Lake hasn't been translated yet, but the other ones I think have.
Let's play cards.
Okay. I don't know what deck he's gonna play, so whatever, I'm just gonna start it. Here we go. Northern Realms versus Nilfgaard. Here we go. Alright, so what I don't want to get rid of is this or this. I can dump him, because he's not going to be much use. Those are all pretty good. Yeah. So here I've got one spy card, and I've got this, because it's inevitable that it's gonna turn into a spy war. It always does. There's really no way it can't. So there's my 2. And he's gonna look at 3 random cards. Okay. Now I want him to either pick up my spy card and play it at me, or play his own spy card. You cheeky little fucker. Let's see. He may not have any spy cards. Yeah, I'm gonna pass. Yeah, there's no way that's gonna end well. Oh, not as much luck as you think. Okay. Ooh.